Come on. Come on. Beautiful day. How are we doing? Little bit of adjustment. How do? So 4 prison officers just been sacked from HMP Leeds. It was in the papers about a week ago. They were sacked over circumstances surrounding a death in custody. Deaths in custody, highly emotional. You know, we're not going to look at the death. We're going to look what was reported, give you my take on it, and also a lot of people new to the channel, tell you a little bit about procedures surrounding deaths in custody and the like. So first thing, coroners and ombudsmen. After a death in custody, at some point an ombudsman will come into prison. They will have a batting order, a list of people to be interviewed, a list of people who will be required to attend the coroner's court, yeah? The prison has no input in this. That's the first mistake for me. Coroners, ombudsman, people are scared of them. You know, the ombudsman does the interviews, they goes to the coroner, and then obviously they have a court, people are going and are questioned. First thing, these people now been waiting 3 years for an inquest into the death of their loved one who has died in a prison somewhere in the UK. Prisons, pre-pandemic and the like, always been a long period of time. That's no good. You know, if you want to get an accurate or picture seeing what happened, death in custody, whether it could have been prevented, etc. Waiting 2 years, 3 years is not happening. Nothing's going to happen on that. For me, they should have a circuit coroner, ombudsman, specifically deal with deaths in custody in prisons. Yeah? That benefits the family, benefits the prison, benefits the staff, particularly nursing staff. I'll tell you who gets hardest time at coroner's courts, nursing staff. Wow, windy, I hope you can hear me, guys. If a nurse interviewed someone in reception and 2 years later they die in Strangeways, yeah, the coroner will have that nurse in asking questions about that reception interview. It's irrelevant, it's nothing to do with the death, it wouldn't have prevented anything. You know, it's almost sometimes like a bit of a circus. Yeah, we've got to get 2 weeks out of this. Let's get as many people in as we can. Let's ask irrelevant questions, because they're not all relevant. You know, make it look like I'm doing a thorough job. The other thing is, there's no liaison. So the last coroner's court I attended, I'm going to stay down the bottom end of the field, guys. Hopefully you can hear me. Wow, windy Miller. Ooh. This way, Stevie. Last coroner's court I attended. Let's get the sun behind us. I found the lad, you know, who took his own life. So obviously I'm going to be questioned. That lad, wow. That lad had been on healthcare 3 or 4 months. I knew him well. For me, might just be me, you know, dumbass, Yorkshire, thick noggin. The best person to have first up on the stand in the coroner's court would have been me. Yeah, not because it's about me. I don't want to be in the spotlight, but I knew the lad. I knew him inside out, I knew his behaviour. He had always been on an unlocked protocol, never out with other prisoners, only out on his own. 3 officers present at all times. Very, very difficult customer. His sister, bless her, came from another country, European country. She didn't speak very good English. She had an interpreter throughout the 2 weeks. That poor lass sat there for 2 weeks, not understanding her brother's behaviour. He did lose a lot of weight while he was on healthcare. She didn't understand that. Didn't understand any of it. So when did I appear? You know, the guy who knew him, found him and could explain his behaviour. Almost last person on the stand. Yeah, the coroner actually, and I did want to punch him in the face. There'd have been no percentage in that. Go to jail, directly to jail. Yeah, I'd have been in jail straight away. The coroner says to me, this young lady has sat here for almost 2 weeks. She don't understand behaviour. She don't understand why her brother lost weight. And she don't understand why he took his own life. Can you explain that? Honestly, I just looked in me, and in your head, you know when you know you shouldn't say something, and I didn't. But I explained. And that young lady, afterwards, through the prison barrister, you know, thanked me for explaining, thanked me for trying to look after him, which is very humbling. He was a difficult customer, and I doubt very much it gave her much peace, but she had a good understanding of her brother's behaviour, and particularly why he'd lost weight. Yeah, so that for me is all wrong. I saw a young nurse, that same coroner's court, sit for 3 days, absolutely terrified, to get on the stand. Did you do this? No. Why? I wasn't on shift. Thank you. That was it. She didn't need to be there. They'll tell you different. I've told you before, God here, coroner sits just below God. The ombudsman the same. The ombudsman interviewed me for about 3.5 hours. Yeah? When I actually got in court, he hadn't understood what I'd said. He asked me the same question 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, maybe more. I answered him. He didn't write that down. This is all, it's all taped. When it was translated, you know, he totally missed the point. The relationship between coroners, ombudsman, and the prison service is rubbish. Yeah, great north-south divide. One coroner, who shall remain nameless, actually said he wanted to be the first coroner to lay a corporate manslaughter charge against the prison, namely Strangeways HMP Manchester. They should be impartial, these guys. Their job should be, you know, to look at the death, report the death accurately, you know, find out what happened, could anything have done, and then do we need to look at procedures or anything like that? For me, that's what it's all about. They have agendas, these people. The way they go at it, you know, it's like some sort of war criminals court, and you don't get the best out of people. You honestly don't. I don't think that'll change at all, but there you go, that's just me. So that's explained, right? So the ombudsman report said that this lad, the duty care he had, the medical care, was equal to what he got in the community. So that has been dealt with. Yeah, no problem with that at all. Right, let's get round to the 4 officers. He talks about a roll check, which I'll tell you about. Come on, Stevie. Do you want your ball? Eh? Sit yourself down, Nick. Good boy. No bath today. Mummy wasn't impressed yesterday. There you go. Good lad. Let's talk about a roll check, shall I? So apparently these officers, and there's 2 shifts here. There's a late shifts, well, 3 shifts actually. There's a late shift, staff who were on late, which is the afternoon. I'm presuming there's a night officer involved, maybe, and then there's the morning shift, the morning staff. There were 4 officers that were sacked. Interestingly enough, doesn't mention managers or anything like that. You see, every wing will have a wing manager, a senior officer. There'll be a principal officer over them. You've got safer custody and number 1 governor. I'd like to see someone from safer custody and the number 1 governor commenting on these things. For me, they should be in court. They're the important people around deaths in custody, procedures, safety, the ACT document, ACT, caring, custody and teamwork. That is a document that was designed to try and keep people safer. It's a multidisciplinary document. You know, there'd be nursing staff in that, probably officers, personal officer, someone from the mental health team, maybe someone from the chaplaincy, maybe a psychiatrist even, yeah? Right, I'm going back down this way so you can hear me. You see where I'm coming from, that act document. That act document can be opened by anyone who's at risk of self-harm and suicide, or suicide. I've said before me, I think quite definitely people who are at risk of taking their own lives, you know, putting them on an act document with people who self-harm. There's hundreds of them documents in the system now, and it seems that these 4 prison officers didn't do their job. So the act document, it will have frequency of checks, conversations and the like. That's dictated by the team and the prisoner. Yeah, like I said, this multidisciplinary team. They talk about welfare checks. Sorry, I've gone off subject there. I missed the roll check. I'll go back to that. The welfare checks. I'm assuming this guy was on an act document and they haven't checked it. Let me tell you now, hands down, not me being clever. Someone's on an act document. If you do nothing else that shift, you check that document. You check them documents. Yeah? There's no excuse. When I was on nights on healthcare, I've had as many as 18 documents and 6 intermittent watches. And intermittent's 5 times an hour. All I did for a full night shift, 10 hours, is writing documents, go out with a piece of paper, check people were alive and moving and the like. And that's what you need to do with an act document. I remember a governor coming on healthcare at night. So he had a look what I'd reported. He says, this isn't very good. I said, what? He says, this comment here turned over. I says, why is it not very good? He says, well, we need more than that. Explain it. I said, explain it, Gov. I was watching the lad, he turned over and he held his hands up. I said, he's alive. That's what I'm checking, he's alive. Yeah? People used to put appears asleep as a comment. That's not good enough. You need to see movement. Make sure they are alive. Yeah? So the act documents, there's no excuse. If they haven't filled them in, hadn't gone to a cell and checked on someone, bam, they're gone, they're sacked straight away. We had an officer did that on not healthcare, at Strangeways though, on the induction wing. Prisoner was on an act document. He sadly died in the night. Yeah? They didn't check. They wrote in the book, on camera, they were seen not going anywhere near that cell. They should have been sacked. They didn't get sacked. I can't explain that. They should have been straight away. You know, that's your job. If you're writing in a document, say you've checked someone, you haven't, bam, you've gone outdoor, you've got no excuse, yeah? There you go. So if they hadn't done that, yeah, they need to be gone. The other thing is the roll check. The prison has said, you know, they're going to look at training and stress the importance of roll check and welfare checks. I've just told you about welfare check. Roll check as a prison officer is fucking bread and butter. It's bread and fucking butter. Stress the importance? Are you fucking kidding me? Right, let me tell you now, K-Wing, 200 prisoners on free landing, so I'm the early start, yeah? I would go on K-Wing, get a piece of paper, a pen, I go up to the 4s landing, 2s, 3s, 4s, 3 landings, 200 prisoners, about 110 cells, and I'd start and you'd go round and you'd count, you look in and count. I'm not looking for movement, I'm counting heads. So if there's 2 people in that cell, 2, 1 in the next, 3, etc. I'd write that down for the 4s landing, then the 3s, then the 2s. Then I'd go in the office and I'd look at the roll board and I'd check my figures. Yes, 72 on the 3s, I've got 71. I go back and check them again. When you've got an accurate count, you phone into the ECR. That's the first job you do in the morning. Yeah? You'd phone into the ECR, tell them your figures, your head count. If people aren't doing that in prisons now, what the fuck are they doing? That is bread and butter job. As a new officer, you get keys. First thing you'll do is open some gates to get into prison. Yeah? And then at dinner time, at tea time, at night time, you'll count prisoners. Bread and butter. No welfare checks, no roll checks out at door. I want to see some manager responsible as well though. Did managers get disciplined? Well, I don't know, do I? Really? But you know what I'm saying? It's bread and butter. If people can't count or aren't doing that part of the job in prisons now, what are they doing? So it don't get any simpler than that. That is your bread and butter. Yeah, so 4 officers sacked. I'd like some managers to have taken responsibility there as well. There's always managers on a wing. Another point that people got upset about, I fully understand why. When I used to do or open a landing in a morning or after dinner or whenever, like all the officers I work with, there's an observation panel, yeah? So I'd have my key in my door, I'd look in that panel and I'd open the door. I'm making sure there's not somebody stood there with a chair leg ready to give me one on noggin. Yeah, that's again bread and butter as you are unlocking. In my time as I was finishing at Strangeways, young officers not doing that. You try and tell them they know better. So whoever it is, lad or lass, who's gone to this lad's cell, he's laid on the floor. If they just opened the cell and walked off, yeah, they should be looking in. Again, it's bread and butter, basics. He said about radios, not having a radio operational. If you see someone on the floor, you don't have a radio, you press an alarm bell, the troops will come to you. There's no delay there. It's easier to press an alarm bell than get on radio and ask for someone. People will attend, including nursing staff. Every alarm bell that goes off in any prison, there is a Hotel 1, a nurse carrying a radio. She will respond to every incident. Okay. Oh, that explains the situation. Like I said, deaths in custody, very emotional. They're not all preventable. You need to learn something. At Leeds and the rest of the prison service, if they're the issue, seriously, you need to learn that you're not employing the right people, or, you know, you're in a far worse place than I thought you were. Stephen is a good one. Parting shot, as always. Good lad, come on then. Beautiful up here, guys. Put your sunglasses on, quick look over there. Cheers, all the very best. Thanks for coming. Al City.